taking flight 18?
Si.
What's your name?
Sai.
Sai?
Si.
I understand you're going to visit your sister.
Si.
I'm afraid to ask this next one. What's her name?
Sue.
Sue?
Si.
On television, Jack's trademark visual mannerisms added a whole new dimension to his comedy.
I don't know, your dialogue was always so sparkling and witty and original and everything. I wish my writers could be that funny. You use writers?
There could be all kinds of comedians doing shtick around him, and then Jack would just do this, and it would be the button for the whole bit.
If I were directing your show, there are certainly a lot of changes I'd like to make.
Like what, for instance?
Well, for one thing, I think I'd bring you out right through the middle of the curtain here and eliminate that long walk of yours.
That walk?
Yeah.
Well, what's wrong?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that you've been doing it for so many years, other stars have started to copy you.
Other stars copy my walk? Who, for instance?
Well, there's Loretta Young.
Oh, now cut that out. They make a mistake. They always say I walk like this. No, I don't walk like this. No, they always do this. Of course not. Oh, really? No, I walk like this. They always get the wrong imitation.
Bob Hope walks like that.
Yes.
Yeah, Bob does one of those walks, too. Jack, it's such
Well,
a
he's
thrill.
effeminate,
Such a
anyway.
thrill.
Of all people to say that about, that didn't fit at all. did
No,
it?
that's terrible.
Yes.
Now, Rich, cut that out.
Oh, for
Yeah.
heaven's sake.
Oh, shut up.
Jack.
The focus of the television show gradually shifted away from the radio family, but the style remained the same. Jack just couldn't win.
Jack told me once, and I've never forgotten it. He said, you got to remember when you do a show, it's not important who gets the laugh within the show. He said, people the next day will say, gee, the Jack Benny show was funny. So he taught me that if you have somebody on a show, you give the guest the best line or you let them be funny, the people will say the next day, gee, the Benny show was funny.
Bob, look, you know, if you'd have come to my dressing room when you were supposed to, before you'd know that you weren't supposed to walk out here until I introduced you.
Jack, I tried to get to your dressing room. I started down the hallway, but some people grabbed me, and I couldn't get away from them. They wanted to know how a comedian works, how he commands the attention of the audience, and how he gets big laughs.
Oh, tourists, huh?
No, you're producer, director, and you're writer.
I say you should do a television show every week.
I should?
Sure. But I think you should do a comedy show.
Comedy show?
Yeah, I think you should start being real funny, Jack.
Well, what have I been doing all these years?
I don't know, it couldn't have been a comedy show that you've been doing in 30 years, because in 30 years I haven't stolen a joke from you.
You couldn't steal from Jack Benny. You can steal from Milton Berle. That may not be a good analogy. You can steal from Henny Youngman. You can steal jokes from comedians. You can't steal from Jack. Because when Jack walked on a stage and would do a joke about, you know, I just finished a television special, he says, to me a special is when coffee goes from $1.29 to 79 cents a pound. Nobody else could steal that joke because it didn't mean anything else with anybody else doing it.
Jack's subtle style, however, could be borrowed.
In all of the years that I've known Johnny Carson, he has never failed to identify his regard for Jack Benny as a person, but also to admit that many of the pauses and looks and hand gestures that Johnny uses, he didn't steal from Jack, but he used them because through admiration and because they worked.
Well, I guess I'm ready. Goodbye, Mother. Goodbye, Dad.
Goodbye?
Yeah, Jackie, what's this all about? Well, I'll tell you what it's all about. I'm 21 and I'm leaving.
21. He's 33 if he's a day. What do you mean you're leaving?
Well, I'm sick of this carnival. You know, I don't have to do this. I'm gonna change my name and be a comedian. Tell jokes on television. That's where all the money is.
Money, money. There are more important things than money.
If you weren't my father, I'd slap your face.
My father was a great appreciator, is that a word, of talent. He loved to help young talent.
Mr. George Burns discovered me and gave me my big break in show business and took me with him in his review at the Sahara Hotel in Las Vegas many years ago. It was there that I met Jack Benny. And he happened to be there every single night in the wings, and we would talk. And I remember one night before the show, Jack Benny asked me if I wanted to be on his television program, and I said, sure, I'd love to.
Well, as I said, I come from Wilmette, Illinois, and I was born in a trunk.
Oh, you were born in a trunk. You mean your folks were in show business, huh?
No, luggage.
Aren't you ashamed of yourself? Well, that was a joke, though, wasn't it?
Well, yeah.
Well, it was pretty good. That was pretty good. Who gave it to you?
George Burns.
I think probably the first television appearance I did do after I left Gary's show was for Jack. It was exciting to come out to California and be a guest with Jack Benny. We did Tarzan and Jane 20 years after they'd married, so Jack came swinging in on a swing.
It's hard to believe that's King of the Jungle.
There was a moment where he wanted to play ball. Tarzan wanted to play ball with Jane and wanted to toss boulders back and forth at each other. So I picked up this huge boulder, which of course was light, and I threw it at Jack, and Jack fell back. And there were these fake bushes that he fell into, and he caught his finger on something that was sticking out. He was bleeding, and he really hurt himself. If you see the show today, he kind of looks down at his hand and he hides it through the next 4 or 5 minutes of his scene. He was trained in theater. He was trained to not stop for anything. The sketch was going well. He wasn't going to, and we had an audience there, he wasn't going to upset people and say, well, gee, I need a Band-Aid or, you know, give me some peroxide on this. He just kept on going.
He was very generous, and he told me, I know that the hit parade is looking to replace one of their singers. So I said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the greatest audition anybody ever had. And with this, he had me as his special guest on his show. And I wasn't well known at that time. He gave me everything. He gave me all the funny lines. He let me play the piano. He let me sing. He took me down to his vault.
As many years as I've had that vault, no one has ever been permitted to go down there with me. I'm terribly sorry, but
Oh, Jack, please take me down. I'd love to see the vault. I wouldn't tell anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody I was there. Won't you please, Jack, take me?